When was the last time you touched yourself, and it actually felt as electric, as powerful as it did in your 20s? For many men over 60, the truth is uncomfortable. Erections are softer, sensation is duller, and climax feels like a faint shadow of what it used to be. Here's the shock. This decline is not simply because of age. In fact, much of it is caused by the fuel you put into your body every single day. And that means the way you feel can be changed. I'm Dr. Mohit Kara, a board-certified urologist and men's health expert with over 3 decades of experience treating men just like you. I've spent my life helping thousands of men restore their vitality. And I can tell you with absolute confidence, your best days are not behind you. Here's what most men get wrong. They think pleasure naturally fades away forever. Yet, I've seen men in their 60s and 70s experience erections and orgasms stronger than what they had at 40. The paradox is that the answer doesn't come from a prescription bottle. It comes from your plate. Because when you give your body the right foods before self-pleasure or intimacy, something extraordinary happens. Blood flow surges, sensitivity sharpens, and climax returns. With the power of youth, you don't need gimmicks or pills, you need fuel. And in today's message, I'm going to reveal the 6 foods that make this possible. One of them is completely overlooked by most men, yet it has the power to transform your experience in ways you won't believe. Stay with me. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another tip designed to help men over 60 reclaim their vitality. And if this video resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 and let me know how I can improve these messages for you. Now let's get started with the very first food, and it may surprise you. This isn't a supplement or a pill, but a natural powerhouse you can find in any grocery store. It's the humble beet, and it holds the key to unlocking stronger blood flow and firmer, more youthful erections. Beets, nature's nitric oxide booster. 1. Beets, nature's nitric oxide booster. I'll be honest with you, gentlemen. When I first started recommending beets to my older patients, many of them laughed. Beets? Really, doc? You expect me to believe a root vegetable is going to do anything for my sex life? And I understand that reaction. After all, when you're dealing with softer erections, weaker sensitivity, or a climax that doesn't quite satisfy, it's hard to imagine that something so simple and earthy could make a difference. But the truth is, beets are one of the most powerful tools we have for restoring circulation and bringing back the vitality you thought was gone for good. Here's why. Beets are loaded with natural nitrates, and your body quickly converts those nitrates into nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is like a switch. It signals your blood vessels to open up, to relax, to allow more blood to surge through. And remember, erections are all about blood flow. The more blood that enters the penis, the firmer, fuller, and more sensitive it becomes. I've had men tell me that after just a few weeks of adding beets into their routine, they woke up with morning erections they hadn't seen in years. And when they pleasured themselves, the sensations were so sharp, so alive, that they felt as if the clock had been turned back decades. Beets don't stop at blood flow. They lower blood pressure, reduce strain on the heart, and increase stamina. That's why elite athletes drink beet juice before competitions. It gives them measurable improvements in endurance and performance. Imagine carrying that same stamina into the bedroom or even into a private moment with yourself. Instead of feeling drained and tired afterward, you'll notice more energy, more strength, more confidence. The beauty is in the simplicity. You can drink beetroot juice in the morning, roast beets, and toss them in a salad, or stir beet powder into a smoothie. It doesn't matter how you take them. The key is consistency. Keep at it, and the difference will be undeniable. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, Doc, Beets are interesting, but surely there must be something more enjoyable, maybe even a little indulgent, that can help me feel 20 again. And you'd be right. That's where our next food comes in. A rich, slightly bitter treat that not only improves circulation, but also awakens your brain's pleasure chemistry in ways that will surprise you. 2. Dark chocolate. Dark chocolate. Medicine. Disguised as dessert. Medicine disguised as dessert. I still remember the first time a patient looked at me and said, "Doctor, are you really telling me to eat chocolate for my erections?" He had this grin on his face, half amused, half skeptical, and I told him, "Yes, but not the candy bars filled with sugar, milk, and artificial junk. I'm talking about the real thing, dark chocolate, the kind that's rich, slightly bitter, and at least 70% cocoa." Once he made the switch, he came back weeks later with a different grin. He said his erections felt stronger, his mood lighter, and his climaxes more satisfying than they had been in years. That's the magic hidden inside those dark squares. Cocoa is packed with flavonoids, plant-based compounds that help your blood vessels relax, improve circulation, and fight the inflammation that stiffens arteries as we age. Better circulation means better erections, plain and simple. But dark chocolate doesn't stop at your arteries. It goes straight to your brain chemistry. Cocoa stimulates the release of dopamine, the very same chemical that lights up your brain when you fall in love, laugh with friends, or experience deep satisfaction. Dopamine is your pleasure, fuel. And when levels rise, arousal becomes stronger, excitement comes faster, and orgasms hit harder. Men often describe it as a richer, more intense release that reminds them of their youth. There's more. Dark chocolate contains magnesium and tryptophan, which help calm stress and relax the body. And if there's one thing I've learned in decades of working with men, it's that stress quietly strangles performance. A calmer mind allows blood to flow freely, lets you stay present, and makes pleasure more enjoyable. Just a small piece of quality dark chocolate a few times a week can begin to shift the way you feel, both in your daily life and in your most private moments. When I tell men to think of dark chocolate not as candy, but as medicine, disguised as dessert, it changes everything. It becomes not just a treat, but a tool, a way of reclaiming vitality while still enjoying something delicious. And for many of my patients, it's the perfect balance between indulgence and health. But perhaps you're wondering, Doc, is there something even more directly tied to testosterone? Something that can flip, that switch back on and bring back the fire? The answer is yes, and it comes from a food long known as nature's ultimate aphrodisiac. Oysters and the power of zinc. 3 oysters and the power of zinc. I'll never forget a man in his late 60s who came to see me frustrated and defeated. He said, "Doctor, I don't feel like myself anymore. My drive is gone, my erections are weak, and even when I climax, it feels like nothing." I looked him in the eye and asked a simple question. When was the last time you paid attention onto your zinc levels? He was confused at first, but once I explained, the light bulb went off. You see, oysters are one of the richest sources of zinc on the planet, and zinc is the mineral your body relies on to produce testosterone. Without enough of it, your masculinity takes a hit. Testosterone is not just about sex. It's about energy, motivation, confidence, and yes, the firmness and intensity of your erections and orgasms. When it's low, everything feels muted. Desire fades, climax feels flat, and you start to wonder if your best days are behind you. But when testosterone rises, the fire returns. You feel that hunger again. Erections regain their strength. And climax has that satisfying kick that makes you feel alive. I've seen men literally transform when they replenish their zinc, almost as if they're waking up after years of being half asleep. Now, I know oysters aren't for everyone. Some men don't like the taste or simply don't have access to them. That's not a problem. Zinc is also abundant in pumpkin seeds, beef, chickpeas, and beans, foods you can easily add to your diet. The key is consistency. Correcting a zinc deficiency doesn't just restore performance, it restores vitality, the spark that makes life exciting again. That man I mentioned earlier, he started adding zinc-rich foods regularly, and within months he was a different person. He came back smiling, telling me his erections were stronger, his energy was back, and his orgasms finally had the intensity he remembered from decades earlier. He said, "Doc, it feels like I've been switched back on." And that's exactly what zinc can do. It flips the switch on your masculinity. But as powerful as that is, there's another food that works in a completely different way. A fruit so refreshing yet so potent that some call it nature's Viagra. Would you like to know why? Stay with me. 4. Watermelon. Nature's watermelon, nature's Viagra. Viagra. I once had a gentleman, in his 70s, tell me he had stopped buying watermelon because he thought of it as nothing more than a sweet summer treat for kids. He laughed when I told him he should start eating it again, not for the taste, but for his erections. He raised his eyebrows, skeptical, until I explained that watermelon contains a powerful amino acid called citrine. Inside the body, citrulline is converted into arginine and then into nitric oxide, the very chemical that tells your blood vessels to relax and open wide, allowing fresh blood to surge in. That flood of blood is what creates firmness, fullness, and the kind of sensitivity that makes self-pleasure or intimacy come alive again. Researchers sometimes call watermelon nature's Viagra, and I believe that's no exaggeration. In fact, some men notice an increase in blood flow within hours of eating it. But the real magic happens when you make it a regular part of your diet. Watermelon helps fight what I call erectile fatigue, the frustrating experience of being able to get hard but not being able to stay hard. Over time, it keeps your circulation steady, allowing you to maintain firmness longer, respond more quickly when aroused, and experience the moment with more intensity. I've had patients tell me that after blending watermelon into smoothies or simply enjoying slices throughout the week, they not only noticed stronger erections, but they also felt lighter, more refreshed, more alive. One man told me, "Doc, I thought that kind of stamina was gone forever, but I feel like my body is waking up again." That's the beauty of something so simple, something you may have overlooked, becoming the very key to reviving your youth. It's easy to add to your routine. Fresh slices at breakfast, blended juice in the afternoon, or even frozen chunks for a cool snack. However you enjoy it, the results can be remarkable if you stay consistent. But here's what I find fascinating. While watermelon restores blood flow, there's another food that targets an entirely different system. The very nerves that carry pleasure signals from your brain to your spark plugs, and without them, even a strong erection can feel numb. That's why our next food may be the missing piece you never realized you needed. Walnuts and the nervous system connection. 5. Walnuts and the nervous system connection. I'll never forget a man who came into my office and said, "Doctor, I can still get an erection, but it just doesn't feel the same. It's like the sensation is dulled, like I'm going through the motions without the spark." He wasn't alone. I hear this all the time from men in their 60s and 70s. What many don't realize is that pleasure is not only about blood flow, it's about the nerves. Your nerves are the messengers that carry signals from your brain to your penis, telling blood when to rush in and sensations when to fire. If those nerves grow weak or sluggish, you can have a firm erection but still feel numb, detached, or unsatisfied. That's where walnuts come in. Walnuts are one of nature's richest sources of omega-3 fatty acids. These healthy fats keep your arteries flexible, but more importantly, they nourish your nervous system. Think of your nerves like electrical wires. When they're frayed, the signal doesn't get through. When they're well insulated and fed, the signal is sharp, clear, and powerful. By eating a handful of walnuts every day, you're literally giving your nerves the building blocks they need to function at full strength. Over time, this brings back the tingling, the heat, the raw sensation you thought had faded forever. I've had patients tell me that within weeks of adding walnuts to their routine, masturbation suddenly felt more alive, more electric. One man described it as rediscovering a part of himself he thought was gone for good. That's the power of feeding not just your blood vessels, but your nerves, the hidden heroes of sexual pleasure. And the benefits don't stop there. Walnuts also reduce inflammation, support heart health, and keep your energy stable throughout the day. It's a simple, natural snack that works like medicine. You can eat them raw, sprinkle them over oatmeal, mix them into salads, or pair them with fruit. However you enjoy them, the key is consistency. A small habit like this builds into a powerful change you can truly feel. Now, as remarkable as walnuts are for restoring sensitivity, there's one final food that takes everything we've discussed, blood flow, hormones, and pleasure chemistry, and ties it together. It's been revered for centuries as a symbol of fertility, and modern science is finally proving why. Let's talk about the overlooked champion of male vitality. Pomegranate, the overlooked champion. 6. Pomegranate, the overlooked champion. I once had a patient in his early 70s who told me, "Doctor, I feel like my body just doesn't have that spark anymore. Erections happen, but they're weak, and when I climax it feels like the edge has been taken off." He sounded defeated, but I smiled and told him there was one fruit I wanted him to try. He raised an eyebrow when I said the word pomegranate. It wasn't something he normally bought, but he agreed to give it a chance. Weeks later, he walked back into my office with a grin on his face. "Doc," he said, "I don't know what's in that fruit, but I feel like a man again." Pomegranates are packed with antioxidants more than almost any other fruit. These antioxidants act like armor, protecting your arteries from damage and clearing out plaque. Stronger, cleaner arteries means stronger blood flow, and stronger blood flow means firmer, more reliable erections. But that's only half the story. Pomegranate has also been shown to boost testosterone, the hormone that fuels desire, energy, and the raw power of orgasm. In several studies, men who drank pomegranate juice regularly experienced not only higher testosterone but also better mood and improved vitality. And when testosterone rises, the changes are undeniable. Desire returns, erections firm up, climax feels full, draining, and deeply satisfying, much like it did in your 20s. I've had men describe it as rediscovering an intensity they thought was lost forever. Instead of a weak release, they felt a surge that left them breathless and satisfied in a way they hadn't felt in decades. You can enjoy pomegranate in many ways. Sip pure juice in the morning, sprinkle the ruby seeds over yogurt or salad, or simply eat the fruit by hand. However you take it, consistency makes the difference. That same patient later told me, "Doc, I thought my days of feeling powerful were gone, but this reminded me that my body is still capable of more." And that's the lesson here. Sometimes the simplest, most overlooked foods hold the greatest power. Now, as incredible as pomegranate is, it's only one piece of the puzzle. When you combine all 6 of these foods together, each one working on blood, flow, hormones, nerves, and pleasure chemistry, you create the perfect storm for bringing back the strength, sensitivity, and climax you thought was gone forever. So, let's tie it all together in one final message you need to hear. Conclusion. Conclusion, gentlemen, if there is one truth I want you to carry with you, it's this: your best days are not behind you. Too many men in their 60s and 70s quietly accept weaker erections, dulled sensitivity, and flat climaxes as if they are an unavoidable part of aging. But I've seen with my own eyes that this is not the case. I've watched men restore their vitality, not with expensive pills or risky procedures, but with simple changes in the foods they put into their bodies. Think about what we've uncovered together. Beets flood your system with nitric oxide, opening your blood vessels wide. Dark chocolate doesn't just sweeten the moment, it lights up your brain's pleasure chemistry. Oysters and zinc flip the switch on testosterone, the master hormone of desire and power. Watermelon, nature's Viagra, keeps blood flowing strong and steady. Walnuts bring life back to your nerves, sharpening every sensation. And pomegranate, that overlooked champion, strengthens your arteries while lifting your testosterone, giving you the intensity you thought was gone forever. Each of these foods works on a different piece of the system, but together they create something extraordinary. A return to the strength, the stamina, and the satisfaction you remember from your youth. I've had men tell me with tears in their eyes that they never believed they could feel 20 again until they gave their bodies the fuel they had been missing. That can be your story too. Within weeks of consistency, you will notice it. Stronger mornings, quicker response, firmer erections, fuller release. So I leave you with this challenge. Don't just listen. Act. Start today. Your body is waiting, and it is more capable than you realize. Age does not define your masculinity. Your choices do. And the choice is yours right now.